course, between Yadier Molina and Brandon Phillips sparked the whole thing. We won't know until after a game exactly what was said. Now Scott Rowland is getting into it. And now he's turning on into Chris Carpenter. And Carpenter's the one down there chirping.
Red card. Most predictable brawl ever. I mean, there was no way they weren't going to riot after Brandon Phillips threw the first punch, and I quote, "I play against these guys with one leg. We have to beat these guys. I hate the Cardinals. All they do is bleep and moan about everything. All of them. They're all little bleeps. All of them. I really hate the Cardinals. Compared to the Cardinals, I love the Chicago Cubs. Let me make this clear. I hate the Cardinals. And let me make this clear, that was awesome. And it pretty much is a reason to go. There are certain things we all agree are a reason to go. Being physically threatened, having somebody insult your race, religion, or lady, somebody spitting in your face, and an MLBer saying that he hates the entire other team, and they're all a bunch of bleeps. It wasn't a question of if, it was a matter of when, and that when was when Phillips tapped catcher Yadier Molina on his shin guard. Never mind that Phillips does at the start of every single game. But after what he said, Molina was not down, and I can't say that I blame the catcher. That said, this is exactly what baseball and the rest of us need in the dog days of summer. The Reds have not mattered or played a series this important this late in the season in years. Phillips knew that. He hates and does not respect the Cards, and he told them as much, and I'm glad he did it. Although I'm not sure he is, and I know his manager, Dusty Baker, isn't, nor his teammates. The whole thing blew up right in his grill. Not only did it not inspire that team, it pumped up the Cardinals, who just swept the Reds in their own house. The last thing I want to do is muzzle feed Phillips, but if you're going to run that sort of junk, you better be ready to back it up. And he ended up going 2 for 14, and they just went 0-3. The biggest shock, though, is he's not even the most hated guy in that Cardinals clubhouse right now. Reds pitcher Johnny Cueto is for his act during that fight. He was the guy kicking guys in the pile, taunting Cards pitcher Chris Carpenter to ask where he learned to fight and to call him unprofessional. He tried to justify his actions by saying, quote, "I was up against the net. When 50 people are around you, you get scared. I had my back to the wall with my feet up." Hey, Johnny, everybody's adrenaline was pumping, and I'm pretty sure there were lots of guys who were scared, but you were the only one trying to curb stop the back in the fight. It's not so shocking to see Tiger Woods unravel the way he has on the golf course. Yes, his personal life is wrecked, but every athlete who goes through something like that says that the field is their sanctuary, that when the rest of the world is falling apart, that's the one place where they can find some control and still dominate, but not Woods. His game mirrors his life. It's in shambles. My question is, how does the shattered home life kill your touch with the putter and your ability to hit it straight? What's one thing have to do with the other? Golf analyst Ian Baker Finch says everything. That once your confidence and swagger are gone and your mystique is dead and your dome is infected, it's a disease that spreads to the rest of your body and your game.
Chicken, egg, cart and horse thing, isn't it, Jim?
Right.
I went through this for a couple of year period in the 90s where no matter how hard you worked and how well things were going pre-tournament, the anxiety level was so high that the swing changed. The balance changes when you go from the range to the first tee. You know, you're only 1 or 2 shots away from playing well again. We're so fragile. We're so mentally incapable here of controlling that intangible.
Point is, if it can happen to Woods, it can happen to anybody on tour. It happened to Baker Finch himself, and he says it's every player's biggest fear.
A lot of guys fear it. Only a few guys have really come through it, and I could go through a handful of names, some guys that I really admire that were right at the very bottom of the valley and came out and have won again and performed great again and played Ryder Cups again. And so some guys can come through it, but it's difficult. It's a steep climb out.
Well, sure, he can get through it, and I think that Woods ultimately will get through it, but he'll never be the dominant, intimidating force that he used to be. That guy is dead and never coming back, and Jack Nicklaus is safe, because while Woods will once again contend for majors, there's no way he has 5 more in his bag. And never mind the rest of his career, what's he going to do with the rest of this year? Baker Finch says if Woods melts down again this week, he should just shut it down.
if he doesn't perform well this week, I would advise him to take the rest of the year off. I'd say shut it down, forget about the playoffs, forget about the Ryder Cup, go play a couple of off-season events over in Australia or Asia or wherever he's plans on going to play, and come back in January, fit and ready and mentally prepared to go for it next season.
I agree, especially that part about the Ryder Cup. I know he says he wants to play, but what do you expect him to say? I can't handle it. I don't want any part of it. Does he look like a guy who wants to be out there? Short of him doing a complete 180 this week, there's no reason for him to even try. Playing the way he is right now, he would hurt them more than he would help them. Number one, even when he used to kill it, he was never an effective Ryder Cup player, so there's no reason to think that he will be when his confidence is shattered and he's chopping it up the way he is right now. Number two, he's already gripping. It'll be 10 times worse over there where the fans and media are waiting to jump him. And all this baggage is going to be a huge distraction to his teammates, a distraction that far outweighs anything positive that he has to offer right now. So short of a complete turnaround this week, I would not let him anywhere near the Ryder Cup team, nor do I think he has a problem with that, regardless of what he's saying. And how about that tweet summed out by LeBron James? Quote, "Don't think for a minute that I haven't been keeping mental notes of everyone taking shots at me this summer, and I mean everyone." That is actually the first sign of that kill or be killed vibe that has fueled all the great ones. A big change from the guy who normally is just clowning on the bench, doing photo shoots, and in-game skits with his teammates. It sounds like he's developing an assassin gene. Then again, where was that fire when everybody was killing him for laying down in Game 5 against Boston? That was the time he should have been taking notes. Maybe then Boston would not have hammered them and then closed them out in their house in Game 6. And it's a whole lot easier to take notes when you've got two All-Stars to run with. He's not going to make a statement like that if he's still back in Cleveland, having to do it all by himself. And what's it even mean anyway? That you're going to knock everybody out who rapped you? You'll have to fight half the country. Does it mean you're going to shut everybody up by winning? Yeah, that'll shut people up. Winning on a team that many expect to win 70 where you're no longer the man. Look, I get that everybody needs fuel wherever it comes from. Just know this, anything less than a ring, and it's going to be another long summer of taking mental notes. Glad to see the revenge fuel, but I'm not really sure what anybody ever did to you. Well, besides burn your jersey. Later on, you'll get my take on Al Davis.